Hi, Nick Byron at 360 Insights, and wanted to share another observation that I've been having over the past few weeks, especially as we're right now, mid-November. This is prime budgeting and planning season for typically the year ahead for a lot of organizations that are either on a fiscal calendar or pretty close in January and February. And one interesting observation I've been having is, I think I talked about this a little while back, where starting to see that the average lifespan of individuals in an organization has drastically changed. It used to be, people would spend entire careers at organizations, and then that started to shorten. And I think I would say, 10 years ago, 4 to 5 years was the average tenure for a lot of individuals, especially I would say higher up level executives. Recently, I've been noticing a trend, and this trend is really where around I've been finding that people have been in seat for maybe 18 months is pretty long, and it's been a lot shorter. And this trend is really starting to, I think, impact organizations' ability to properly execute. Now, I get it. There's a lot of research, especially in the realm of HR, where organizations are basically saying that pretty soon that's going to be life. People are going to work at multiple companies at once. The gig economy is going to basically take over the world. And people aren't going to be stuck in one company, one role, whatever it might be. And I don't really agree with that. And I think it really can impact and hinder an organization if they're thinking that way. And the reason for that is I am seeing a pretty dangerous trend where you have these people come into seats, they get all up to speed on the organization, the go-to-market strategy, the nuances of the business, who are they working with, how do they worked in the past, the solution providers that help them out, like us as a research firm, and so on and so forth. And that's a lot of education. It typically takes quite a few months for a lot of people to ramp up. If they're in an executive position, typically they have to start figuring out, well, what's the budget, figure out the budget, who do they want to work with, start to get the team into place. And the problem I'm finding is that, and I'm even seeing this within 360 Insights, is that we spend an awful lot of time working with those individuals, getting them up to speed to who we are. How do we work? How did we work with the organization in the past? Getting potentially figured into the budget. And then what happens is when that person leaves, that all that momentum stops. And then we have to redo that process with whoever comes into place. Sometimes it's immediate, sometimes it takes some time. And this is becoming a fundamental problem where I'm seeing a lot of organizations struggle because they're failing to get either their organizational strategy in place, their marketing strategy in place, their product strategy keeps on changing based upon who comes in and out. And I really find this troubling because if you could just imagine a plane kind of flying across I almost said the plane, but I'd say the horizon. And what I'm seeing is it's not a smooth ride or even an acceleration in a lot of these companies. It's kind of like a staggering where sometimes things are going well, but then they lose someone and then it kind of loses a little bit and then and this has become a massive trend, especially in the software realm, where you're finding these organizations that are really spinning their wheels, getting these people on board. These people are getting in place. They're kind of putting project and whatever it might be into position and execute it, and then they leave. And then there's a bit of a uncertainty in terms of what's going to happen over the next few months, few weeks, whatever it is. You bring on someone new, and then they have their own, I would say, direction and concept on what the organization should focus on. So, really, this is a way of saying I'm going to caution a lot of executive leadership when you think about the turnaround time, or I would say the retention of your leadership and the people that are actually, the ones building out the plans, divvying up the plans, figuring out the budget, the strategy for the organization. You really need to start thinking about how do you retain these people? How do you keep them on board longer? Because at the end of the day, if you are just cycling through executive leadership and management, and I'd even say middle management, that's a problem. It's really starting to hinder your business and your ability to do good business. And I am finding that it's even hurting firms like 360 Insights, where at the end of the day, we might have a great relationship with an organization and then someone leaves. And it really depends on whether this new person comes in, knows us, likes us, want to work with us, and sometimes it just goes away. And I'm okay with that because we work with a lot of different organizations, but it really can be if it's disruptive to my business, I can only imagine what that is in terms of disruptiveness to your business. So again, a general observation, people are staying in jobs less. It's hindering businesses. But really, I think you need to think about as a business leader, how do you keep these people in their seats as long as possible? I'm not talking about chaining them to their seats, but within your organization, that institutional knowledge, that longevity matters. The organizations that are able to keep people in to keep that longevity are seeing a lot more success. So, love to hear more about maybe your experiences. I mean, at the end of the day, it's part of the research that we cover, and always interested in hearing, how this is impacting organizations, how it's impacting your organization. Maybe you might have a differing opinion, and I'd love to hear that. So, please feel free to reach out, share it, and hope you find this video valuable.